The discovery. The war had been raging for 15 long years across the Epsilon sector, and the Viridian Alliance was losing. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the observation deck of the U.S. Phoenix, watching the distant flashes of battle through the reinforced viewport. Her ship floated silently in the shadow of an asteroid field, completely invisible to both warring factions, thanks to humanity's advanced stealth technology. The Phoenix was Earth's most advanced reconnaissance vessel, equipped with experimental cloaking systems and long-range sensors that could monitor communications across vast distances. For 3 years, Admiral Chen and her crew had been humanity's eyes and ears in this distant conflict, watching as two alien civilizations tore each other apart over territorial disputes that seemed pointless to human observers. The Viridian Alliance consisted of 4 different species who had banded together for mutual protection and trade. They were peaceful by nature, preferring diplomacy to warfare, but their enemies gave them no choice. The Korthak Dominion was an aggressive military empire that expanded through conquest and subjugation. They viewed the Alliance's diversity as weakness and their peaceful nature as an invitation to attack. Commander Jessica Torres, the Phoenix's tactical officer, approached with the latest intelligence reports. Her expression was grim as she handed the data pad to Admiral Chen. The Alliance had lost another 3 colonies in the past month, and their fleet strength was down to 40% of pre-war levels. Refugee ships filled with civilians flood from system to system, hoping to stay ahead of the Korthak advance. Admiral Chen had served in Earth's Navy for 28 years before joining the Deep Space program. She had seen conflicts before, but nothing on this scale. The Korthak showed no mercy to civilians, treating conquered populations as slaves or worse. The Alliance fought desperately to protect not just their territory, but their very way of life. Earth's government had debated intervention for months. Some argued that humanity should stay hidden until they were stronger. Others believed they had a moral obligation to help those in need. The debate continued while Admiral Chen and her crew watched the suffering through their sensors, feeling helpless despite their advanced technology. The Phoenix's communication array suddenly came alive with urgent transmissions. Lieutenant Michael Park, the ship's communication specialist, worked frantically to decode the incoming signals. His face went pale as he processed the information. A massive Alliance evacuation convoy was under attack just 2 light hours from their position. Over 50,000 civilians were trapped on transport ships with minimal defensive capabilities. Admiral Chen studied the tactical display as data flowed in from their long-range sensors. 12 Korthak heavy cruisers had surrounded the evacuation fleet, systematically destroying escape pods and smaller vessels. The few Alliance warships present were outnumbered and outgunned, fighting a desperate delaying action that could only end one way. The Admiral's hands clenched as she watched the slaughter unfold on her screens. These were not soldiers or strategic targets, but families fleeing for their lives. Children, elderly beings, and pregnant mothers were dying while she observed from safety. The moral weight of inaction pressed down on her like a physical force. Her crew watched her carefully, knowing the decision she faced. Commander Torres spoke quietly, understanding the dilemma. They had orders to avoid contact with either faction, but they also had the power to save thousands of innocent lives. The Phoenix was armed with weapons more advanced than anything either alien faction possessed, and its shields could withstand anything the Korthak threw at them. Lieutenant Park reported that the Alliance ships were sending desperate pleas for help on all frequencies, not knowing that anyone was listening. Their escort commander spoke of honor and duty, promising to fight to the last ship to protect the civilians behind them. The courage in his voice made the human crew's hearts ache with recognition. Admiral Chen made her decision with the clarity that comes from moral certainty. She ordered the Phoenix to drop its stealth mode and move to intercept the Korthak fleet. The crew responded with quiet efficiency, each person understanding that they were about to change the course of galactic history. The journey to the battle site took 90 minutes at maximum speed. During that time, Admiral Chen prepared her crew for first contact with alien civilizations. They would reveal humanity's existence to the galaxy through an act of war, something that would have consequences far beyond this single battle. When the Phoenix emerged from hyperspace, both alien fleets detected it immediately. The human ship was unlike anything in their databases, its smooth lines and advanced construction clearly indicating a new player in galactic affairs. The Korthek fleet paused their attack, uncertain how to respond to this unexpected development. Admiral Chen opened communication channels to both fleets simultaneously. Her voice was calm but carried absolute authority as she identified herself and demanded the immediate cessation of attacks on civilian targets. The Korthek commander responded with typical arrogance, demanding that the unknown vessel leave immediately or be destroyed. The admiral's response was swift and decisive. The Phoenix's weapon systems, based on principles unknown to either alien faction, struck with surgical precision. 3 Korthek cruisers found their engines disabled in seconds, leaving them drifting helplessly. The demonstration of power was unmistakable, and the remaining Korthek ships suddenly found themselves facing an opponent whose capabilities they could not assess. The Alliance fleet watched in amazement as the human ship positioned itself between the attackers and the civilian transports. The Phoenix's shields absorbed the Korthek's return fire without apparent effect, while its weapons continued to methodically disable enemy vessels without destroying them completely. Within 30 minutes, the entire Korthek fleet was either disabled or in full retreat. The few ships that could still move fled the system, carrying news of the mysterious new faction that had appeared from nowhere. The Alliance evacuation convoy was safe, but the galaxy had forever changed. The game changer. News of the Phoenix's intervention spread through both Alliance and Korthek space within days. The Alliance Council, governing body of the 4-species coalition, called an emergency session to discuss this unprecedented development. Ambassador Zarathex, a tall crystalline being from the planet Viridios Prime, led the debate over how to respond to humanity's sudden appearance. The Alliance had always prided itself on diplomatic solutions and peaceful cooperation between different species. The arrival of a 5th species, one that had remained hidden while possessing advanced technology, raised questions about trust and intentions that needed careful consideration. Admiral Chen received an invitation to meet with the Alliance Council at their capital station in the Centauri Reach. She brought with her a small diplomatic team led by Dr. Elena Rodriguez, Earth's most experienced xenobiologist and cultural specialist. The meeting would determine whether humanity became an ally or another threat in an already dangerous galaxy. The Alliance capital station was a marvel of cooperative engineering, with architecture that accommodated the different environmental needs of 4 distinct species. Gravity sectors, atmospheric zones, and temperature controls allowed beings as different as the aquatic Selfie and the silicon-based Corvini to work together in the same facility. Dr. Rodriguez was fascinated by the biological diversity she encountered, while Admiral Chen focused on the strategic implications of what she observed. The Alliance clearly possessed advanced technology in areas where humanity was still developing, particularly in biotechnology and energy manipulation. However, their military applications of this technology were limited by their peaceful philosophy. The council session took place in a circular chamber where each species' representatives sat in environmental pods suited to their needs. Ambassador Thex, speaking for all 4 species, expressed gratitude for humanity's intervention, while also voicing concerns about their hidden presence in the galaxy. Admiral Chen responded with honesty about Earth's cautious approach to galactic civilization. Humanity had discovered the existence of alien species only recently and had chosen to observe and learn before making contact. The war between the Alliance and the Korthek had forced their hand, as human moral principles would not allow them to watch genocide without acting. The discussion that followed revealed fundamental differences in how humans and Alliance species viewed conflict and defense. The Alliance preferred defensive strategies that minimize casualties, even among their enemies. Humans, while sharing the desire to protect innocent life, were more willing to use overwhelming force to achieve decisive victories. Dr. Rodriguez proposed a cultural exchange program that would allow each species to better understand the others. The Alliance had much to teach humanity about cooperative governance and biotechnology, while humans could share their advances in military technology and strategic thinking. The negotiations continued for 3 days, during which both sides learned to appreciate their differences as potential strengths. The Alliance's diverse perspectives and peaceful philosophies complemented humanity's tactical innovation and decisive leadership. Together, they might be able to end the war that had devastated the sector for 15 years. The formal alliance was signed in a ceremony that broadcast throughout Alliance space. Humanity would provide military support and strategic planning in exchange for access to Alliance technology and full membership in their Democratic Council. The 5 species would face the Korthak threat together, combining their strengths to protect the values they all shared. The first joint operation came sooner than expected. Korthak forces, enraged by their defeat at the evacuation convoy, launched a massive assault on the Alliance's key manufacturing world of Nexus Prime. Intelligence reports indicated that the entire Dominion fleet was converging on the system, intending to end the war with one decisive blow. Admiral Chen worked with Alliance Fleet Commander Vex Korath, a veteran tactician from the warrior poet culture of Drakmor, to plan their response. The Alliance fleet numbered only 37 ships, while the Korthak brought over 200 vessels to the battle. Traditional Alliance strategy called for evacuating the planet and fighting a delaying action, but Admiral Chen proposed something different. The combined fleet would meet the Korthak at the edge of the Nexus system, where a naturally occurring asteroid field provided cover and tactical opportunities. Human stealth technology would allow small strike teams to penetrate the enemy formation, while Alliance ships provided support and coordination. The battle plan relied on something the Korthak had never faced: perfect cooperation between species with completely different tactical philosophies. Human ships would strike hard and fast at key targets, while Alliance vessels used their superior shields and mobility to keep the enemy off balance. As the fleets approached each other, Admiral Chen found herself commanding not just human ships, but Alliance vessels whose crews trusted her leadership despite having known her for only weeks. The responsibility was immense, but so was the opportunity to demonstrate what united species could accomplish together. The battle began with a coordinated assault on the Korthak command structure. Human ships, invisible to enemy sensors, appeared inside the Dominion formation and targeted communication relays and flagship vessels. At the same moment, Alliance ships struck from 3 directions, their diverse weapon systems creating a symphony of destruction that overwhelmed Korthak defenses. For the first time in the war, the Korthak found themselves outmaneuvered and outgunned. Their numerical superiority meant nothing when they could not coordinate their attacks or predict their enemies' movements. Human tactical doctrine, combined with Alliance technology and courage, created a fighting force greater than the sum of its parts. The battle lasted 6 hours and ended with the complete destruction of the Korthak fleet. More importantly, the surviving Dominion forces faced the reality that they could no longer win through military might alone. The Alliance had gained a powerful ally, and the balance of power had shifted permanently. Within a month, the Korthak Dominion requested peace negotiations. The war that had seemed unwinnable was ending not through Alliance defeat, but through the introduction of humanity's strength combined with Alliance wisdom. The galaxy would never be the same, and the age of cooperation between species had truly begun. The peace treaty was signed on Earth, making humanity's homeworld the first neutral meeting ground between former enemies. The ceremony marked not just the end of a war, but the beginning of a new era where diversity with strength and cooperation could overcome any challenge the galaxy might face.